10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. 10 kids and one old, out-of-shape coach began the qualifying round in hopes of advancing to an unusual stepladder format comprised of 7 players. And here are the ones who made it to the championship round. Bowling in the 7th position is Nolan, a frequent presence on Prodigy, but still looking for his first singles crown. In the 6th position is Matt. This 12-year-old two-hander from AMF Woodstock may be the youngest of our finalists, but he throws as strong a strike ball as just about any of them. They'll be bowling our number 5 qualifier, Christian. Mcfluffster has won twice this season on Prodigy already and has his sights set on trying to catch Logan F, our winner last week, for the season lead with 3 titles. The winner of that first 3-man match will advance to face 2 more bowlers. Our number 4 ranked player is Big Logan M, who keeps knocking on the Prodigy door and keeps having it slammed in his face. Maybe today will be his lucky day to finally emerge victorious. And our number 3 ranked player, Nick, another two-hander from AMF Woodstock. Nick has been close before and certainly has the game to win on Prodigy. Today may be his best chance yet. The winner of that second 3-man match will advance to the championship match against our 2 leaders. In the number 2 position is Jack, another two-hander from AMF Woodstock. What do they feed those kids over there? Jack is the only player in our field today who fired both games in the 200s during the qualifying round. And the number 1 ranked player, Tristan. Tristan appeared in our first 2 Prodigy episodes of the year and has been trying to get back ever since. He's looking for his first win. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia. It's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches staged by some of the most engaged youth bowlers in the metro Atlanta area, including many of the kids who bowl league with us here at Brunswick Zone Roswell, all in an effort to simulate big-time tournament competition in an open play environment. As I mentioned, we started with 11 players, and only 4 failed to advance to this unique stepladder format. In the first game of qualifying, Tristan threw down the gauntlet, firing a scintillating 262, with Big Logan M and Nick staying within shouting distance with games in the 240s. A certain coach I know showed that there's nothing that takes the place of practice, and since I haven't been doing any recently, I set myself up to be a non-factor in this event from the get-go. As the second match got underway, it was clear that the torrid scoring pace set in Game 1 was not going to be replicated in the second game. As I mentioned, only Jack managed to break 200 in both games, although Nick came close with a 194. They're bowling in an unusual 7-man stepladder format today. We'll bowl 3 games, and each one will feature 3 bowlers. The opening match will have players 5, 6, and 7. Then the winner of that match will advance to face players 3 and 4, and the winner of that match will reach the championship and will face bowlers 1 and 2. But there is one little twist this week. You know how I like to do this. The title of the show this week is The 7th Frame Sweat. And here's what that's all about. In each match, all 3 players' pinfall on their first ball in the 7th frame will determine if they'll get to continue. It'll be something like a single ball elimination. The player who gets the low pinfall on their first ball in the 7th frame will be done for the day, regardless of their score at the time. Now, if 2 tie for the low pinfall, then they all tie, and all 3 players will complete the match. Hence the name 7th Frame Sweat. So let's get this party started as we begin match 1, pitting Nolan, Matt, and Christian in our opening match. Christian, being the higher seed, had the choice of starting lanes, and he has chosen to start on the left lane, so the other 2 players will start on the right. I'm not sure he quite understands that this isn't going to be PBA style, as the kids like to call it sometimes, when you're bowling match play and the match starts on the left lane, but he will start on the left and he will finish on the right, and maybe he just wanted to finish on the right. I don't know. But most of the time Christian chooses to start first because he just wants to bowl. And that's about all the thought that goes into it. So, anyway, here we go. First shot of the match. And a pretty good commercial shot. Hits a little flat, leaves a soft 10. And he goes to his plastic ball, and he'll go cross lane at this. Oh, but he jerks it down from the top, and that's never a good sign. It bounces out of the gutter, and that doesn't count. That is an open frame. Here's Nolan. And he goes Brooklyn, and as it hooks away, he just barely ticks the head pin, and he too leaves a 10 pin. You saw Nolan shaking his hand there just before we started bowling. Nolan smashed his hand between a couple of bowling balls. And I wasn't sure he was going to be able to go, but he's going to tough it out. And there's another missed 10 pin. So now we're going to get our first look at Matt. Matt is one of the contingent from AMF Woodstock who has begun coming over to bowl Prodigy with us. He's a good little bowler. Obviously a two-hander, as you can plainly see, as is his older brother Nick, who you will see a little later in the show. In the pocket, but another 10 pin. We've seen 4 shots so far and 4 10 pins left. And now 3 of them have been missed. All right, can Nolan make a 10 pin? Maybe? There you go. All right, somebody draws first blood. And now Christian up on the right lane. There's one in the pocket. Goes just a skosh high, but watch this. It was almost a solid 9, and he realizes he might have gotten away with one there. And another 10 pin. Well, you will leave some 10 pins in this house. The gutters at Brunswick Zone Roswell are at the maximum allowable depth, so you are going to leave some 10 pins here. However, you're not supposed to miss them all. All right, I know Matt will get it together here. All right, Nolan up on the right. Let's see if he can leave something other than a 10 pin. Well, he did. But that's not exactly what I had in mind. He gets the 10 and the 8, and this is just a flat shot. Watch this ball deflect. It goes to the right. Just barely grazes the 5 and sends it in front of the 8. There's a strike. Christian gets a double. Nolan takes the count. Not much more you can do with the 8-10, but just knock one down and hope a miracle happens. Something bounces out. All right, Matt. Let's see your Sunday ball right here. Well, there it is. This little guy is 12 years old. Not sure how long he's been bowling, but if he stays at it, he's going to be pretty good. Well, Nolan, we talked about it last week. He throws a real light ball for his size, and so he's going to get some deflection. He has to hit high flush. And there's one high flush. Christian with a turkey. And a spare for Nolan. So Christian in the driver's seat early in this match, but there's still a lot of frames left. Comes in just a little bit light. Matt may be playing just a little deeper on the lane than he needs to. There's a lot of oil in the middle of the lane. We're bowling on the house shot today. We had a sport pattern on the other pair of lanes, but it was pretty close to a house shot, to be honest with you. So we just decided to bowl on this pair for the show. There's a spare for Matt. And we saw Nolan get his first strike of the match a second ago. Christian may be way out in front, but with that 7th frame looming, anything can happen there. So if you're behind in the match, it would behoove you to just get all you can and stay as close as you possibly can. Stay in the hunt. Oh, that could have been a strike. And I could have been born rich. Oh my goodness. Well, that's about as good as you can throw it right there, but he just stone 7. There is a spare for Christian. Let's take another look at this stone 7 that Matt left. Look at this. Everything gets pushed back, but somehow everything missed the 7. How does that happen? Crazy game, ain't it? All right, Nolan got a strike working. He can string some strikes here. He can give Christian something to think about. And that's right where Nolan needs to hit to carry a strike, with that light ball. If he hits flush like that, they'll go. And Christian finds the hole once again, and he's bowling pretty well this game. Save for that missed 10 pin in the first. Oh, he almost got that 5 to rip over into the 7. A little heavier ball. That probably would have gone. Still, it was a good shot. This kid is going to be really good when he gets bigger. Good spare. So now we head to the 7th frame sweat. And here's what it's all about. It's like a single ball elimination. The low pinfall on the first ball in the 7th frame is eliminated from the match, regardless of where they stand with score. And Nolan stuffs one, and he let everybody know about it, too. Watch this. He says, let's go. All right. Christian. High flush. It's as good as you can throw it right there. Watch it. And watch his reaction. Yeah, he liked that one. Well, now all the pressure is on Matt. Got a strike to continue. And how about that? Well, that's just as good as it gets right there. Oh, he knew it was good as soon as he let it go. And he's pretty happy about it. Well, for anybody who has watched Prodigy before, you know I love to put these kids in pressure situations, and that's what that 7th frame sweat is all about. And they all came through, and that means there is no low pinfall in the 7th frame, so they all get to finish the game. There's another good one. Christian has found the line, although he did appear to slip at the foul line. Oh, no! Well, Nolan had that turkey working, and now he's left himself a mess. The 5-8-10. This is how you make it. Put the ball to the left of the 5 pin, slide it over into the 10. The ball will take out the 8. Got to have this to stay with Christian. Well, he hit the wrong side of the 5. That would have made the 5-7. But that's an open in the 8th, and now Nolan is in trouble. Matt needs to keep striking too. And that one comes up a little thin. And now he leaves a tricky little cluster, the 2-4-5-7. You shoot it just like the 2-4-5, but the one bad break you can get is to send the 4 around the 7. Oh, just like that. Well, he made a good pass at it. It was just fractionally too high on the 2 pin. See, that's the ball that Nolan needs right there. High flush. There is nothing the pins can do there but go down. But now Christian is really in the driver's seat. The best Nolan can do is 199. Well, with that 8 count, that gives Christian the possibility to shut everybody out. Watch Matt's shot once again. Right in the pocket. All right, there's a mark. So if Christian were to, for some reason, throw the next 2 balls in the gutter in the 10th frame, he would finish with a 196. So it is still possible for Nolan to catch him. He'll need at least the first 2 and probably all 3 strikes in the 10th. And he'll need Christian to hop on a bus for Birmingham or something. Or get lost somewhere between here and the snack bar. There's a good shot by Nolan. Slaps out the 10. But now Christian can put an end to all that nonsense right now. He needs 4 pins. Well, actually, he needs 3 pins on the first ball. And he will shut everybody out. And there it is. There is the winning ball, and Christian is moving on to match 2. Brooklyn for Nolan. He's going to be in the 180s, and it's going to be a 180 game with 3 opens. Christian testing out another ball here. Pretty good idea when you've got the match locked up and you've got a couple of extra balls to throw in the 10th. That's the time to try something out. Try a different line, try a different ball. See what other options you have. There's a ripper. And Christian polishes off a 226. Tell you what, when he missed that 10 pin in the first game, I did not think that 226 was in the offing for him. But he recovered and bowled well the rest of the way. Coming up a little thin on the 11th frame shot. So that's going to put Matt in the 170s. I'd say this little guy acquitted himself nicely in his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour today. Covers the spare. So it's Christian who will be moving on to match 2. Once again, another 3-person match, as it'll be Christian, our 5 seed, going against our 4 seed Logan M, and our 3 seed Nick. You know how at the beginning of every episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we remind you that the show is best viewed full screen. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we started inviting you to send a selfie showing how it's done. A picture of you watching Prodigy Bowlers Tour on your big screen TV, on your computer, or even on your mobile device. Here are a few of the rabid Prodigy fans who responded. If you'd like your selfie featured on an upcoming episode of Prodigy, take a picture of yourself in front of your big screen with Prodigy on in the background and send it to me. Address it to randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. Be sure to include your name, the city where you live, your age, and which episode of Prodigy you're watching in the picture. You just might find your way on to the next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And thanks to everyone who's already sent in their Prodigy selfie. Keep them coming. Some really clutch bowling by all 3 players when they got to the 7th frame sweat, as all 3 threw their best shots of the match, and all 3 made a strike. But in the end, Christian had 7 strikes total in that match, and it was just a little too much for the other 2 players. So Christian is moving on to match 2, and now he'll face our 3rd and 4th ranked players, Nick and Big Logan M. Nick, being the higher finisher in the qualifier, had the option, and he has elected to start on the right lane. He wants to finish on the left. There must be something he detected about that left lane during warm-ups, because he was adamant about it. He wanted to start on the right lane so he could finish on the left. So that's exactly what he's going to do. Now, this is Matt's older brother, Nick. Another two-hander. Carries about a 205 average. And you can see why. He's got a good little game. Christian's going to have his hands full this time with these two fellows. Oh my goodness, he sent that one out into the weeds. We call that an area check on the house shot. If this had been a sport pattern, that ball would have been in the river. All right, let's see if he can make a 10-pin this time. He started off with a 10-pin in the last game. And he does the same thing. The only difference is this one, the ball didn't bounce out of the gutter and knock over the 10-pin. Wouldn't have mattered. It doesn't count when that happens. But once again, he starts with an open in the first frame. Another missed 10-pin. And now big Logan M. And I don't know what ball it is he's throwing, but I really like the reaction he was getting with this ball. As he and Mcfluffy apparently have the same chamois. Big Logan M giving Christian the evil eye there. All right. Oh my goodness. Well, Nick finds a similar reaction to the one that his little brother got. Apparently a good shot. He actually sent the 5 behind the 7. Oh, well, that's one way to trip a 4. As Nick takes care of the 7-pin without a problem. Let's go back. I want to see this trip 4 by Logan again. Watch this. I think this is the 3-pin that comes back off the right wall and takes out the 4. Watch it. Watch his reaction. Yeah, baby. And he's off to a strong start. Well, Christian got it a little wide again. This time it doesn't recover. And Nick not trusting that one quite as far to the right as he meant to, so goes through the nose. Breaks up any split, though. Easy spare. And Christian takes care of the 2-4. All right. So big Logan M, the only one with a double thus far. So he's out in front with a chance to extend. But no. Comes in light. Tries to break up the 2-5, but the 2 remains. And Christian finds that sweet spot yet again. And a spare for big Logan. Here's that shot by Mcfluffy just a second ago. That is perfect. Nick, like his brother, may be playing a little deeper on the lane than he needs to. These synthetics here at Brunswick Zone Roswell, a little harder surface than the ones he's used to over at AMF Woodstock. Oh, ringing 10 for Logan. Gotta watch the chop. Anytime you shoot the 2-5 from the right side of the lane, you open up the possibility of a chop. I much prefer seeing these kids play the 2-5 down the left side of the lane. Gives you a little better angle. Less likely to take the 2 off the 5. Well, we've seen him do this before. I think Christian knew when he let it go that might have been a little high. But again, on the house shot, it sets in the oil, and he got away with it. Looks like 10 back on the score sheet. Oh, how about that one right there? That's what I call a light shaker. Watch the head pin go to the wall, and no, it wasn't the head pin. It was something else that came back and got the 4. How about that? And big Logan M goes through the nose, breaks up the split, leaves the 10 pin, or should I call it the impossible 10 pin. Nah, he takes care of it. Now Christian working on a double. Oh my goodness, that goes way left. And this is the mistake that we see Christian make sometimes. There you go, Nick. You got that one out wide enough so that it could bounce off the dry boards on the outside. We're going to take a closer look. This is Christian's big mistake and all the stuff that we've been working with him on. Watch this. He doesn't even get the ball started until the 3rd step in his approach. And then, of course, he gets it way higher than we really want to see. That's all kinds of problems that manifest as a result of that. And then watch this. See, his left foot is now flat on the floor, and look how late his arm swing is. When the left foot gets flat on the floor, that arm swing should be level with the floor. But he's late with his timing. And then look how far forward his right shoulder is when he lets it go. That's why he pulls it. And the reason why he pulls it is because his timing is so late, he almost has to jerk the ball down from the top because his body senses that it's late. If he's ever going to get better, he's got to commit to making that swing a little lower. It not only messes with his accuracy, but it messes with his timing. And when his timing is messed up, that in turn also messes with his accuracy. Kind of a vicious circle. There's a high flush strike by big Logan M, and he's got to like that. Now, there's actually some similarities between his game and Christian's. Let's look at big Logan M and compare them with Christian. Big difference here is he's already got the ball in motion on his 2nd step. Christian waits till his 3rd. Logan's got the big high backswing. Of course, he's a lot bigger than Christian. And now you see his left foot flat on the floor. His backswing or his arm swing is a little late getting flat to the floor. And now his right shoulder slightly ahead, but not as much as Christian was. And he's just learned to control it. Well, it's that time. We have reached the 7th frame sweat. And now, All of these players pretty close to even. I believe Nick is ahead by about 10 pins, but anybody could be eliminated here. Uh-oh, there's an 8 count. It's the first ball in the frame that matters. The low pinfall on the first ball in the frame, that player is done. So Christian's got to hope somebody else gets 8. Well, there's all 10. Now, I got a feeling that Nick may not be real proud of this one, but he's not going to give it back either. Yeah, he knows he got away with one there. All right, Christian for the spare, because it's still his turn. An open frame, but it may not matter. Christian's got to hope right now that Logan M gets 8 or less. If Logan gets 9 or a strike, Christian is eliminated. See ya later. And I think Logan is disgusted with that shot. He just knew that was going to be a strike. Watch his reaction to this. He says, really? Yes, really. Well, that's a 9 count. That's better than what Christian had. And so, the 7th frame sweat claims a victim. Low pinfall on the first ball in the 7th frame, and that player is done for the day. So Christian won't be finishing this match. And he finishes 5th. Oh, there's a nice little trip 4. This is a little more of an honest strike than the one he got in the 7th. And now big Logan M. Oh, and Christian's got to be saying, where was that last frame? The 3-6-10 with the ball on the 3 and the 6. The 6 will take out the 10. Seems simple enough. And big Logan M makes it look easy. So Christian is done. Just these 2 players, Logan and Nick, will finish out this match. And another 3-6-10. And you can see it on his face. Logan is not a happy camper. Yep. Chop suey. And now the best he can do is 189. Nick is probably going to pass that here in the 9th frame. Nearly gets another trip 4, but that's enough to put him beyond 189, even if he gets no more pins the rest of the way. He'd have 194 if he fouled on the rest of his shots. So these 2 will go ahead and speed bowl the 10th frame, since the outcome is no longer in doubt. Only the final score is a question. That is a sweet rolling ball right there. Well, Logan is still looking for answers. He comes over here to bowl Prodigy, and it seems like every time he does, he bowls great to get into the stepladder, and then something happens. And it's usually not what he's looking for. This is a talented young player here. Nick going for the 2-8 and takes care of it. So that's a 226, same score that Christian won with in the previous match. And Logan will finish this off. And it doesn't really matter. That's a 178. And he is disgusted with himself, but Nick is a happy camper. He'll face Jack and Tristan when we come back. Prodigy Bowlers Tour presents Legends of the Game. Today, we honor one of the game's greatest showmen, Carmen Sal Vino. At the age of 14, Carmen Salvano was walking down a street in his neighborhood in Chicago when he stumbled upon a bowling pin laying on the ground outside a bowling alley. So he walked into the 6-lane establishment and got a job setting pins for about $3 a night. By the age of 17, he was averaging over 200 for his high school team, and according to Salvino, he became the first person to letter in the sport. That same year, in 1951, Carmi began competing nationally in the American Bowling Congress tournament in St. Paul, Minnesota. He made the most of it, firing a 699 in singles competition. At the age of 19, Carmen and noted bowling instructor and top pro of the day, Joe Willman, teamed up to win the national match game doubles title in 1953. In 1958, Carmen got a call from PBA founder Eddie Elias about an idea he had, a pro tour for bowling. Salvino was there in that first organizational meeting with the 7 other founding members of the PBA: Dick Weber, Don Carter, Dick Hoover, Harry Smith, Buzz Fazio, and Steve Nagy. Carmen would go on to win 10 times on the PBA Tour in the 1960s, including the 1962 PBA National Championship, his only major.
Salvino, been bowling well. And he comes up with a big one.
Just when his career appeared to level off in the late 60s, he made a significant change to his game, holding the ball low at his side.
Good shot by Salvino.
It worked, and he went on to win 7 more times in the 1970s. One of the highlights of his career came during the 50s, when Salvino was bowling on TV's Bowling Stars series.
BOWLING, we go bowling, 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 my baby and me.
He shot a stunning 846 for 3 games, leaving the entire bowling world abuzz. But not only was Carmen Salvino one of the greatest bowlers of all time, he was also one of the first players to see that there's more to this game than just rolling a ball. He was intrigued by the science of it, and soon Salvino came to be known as one of the foremost experts on ball construction, how to drill bowling balls, and eventually the chemistry of bowling balls. Salvino was awarded the first of 3 patents for ball construction, which he licensed to Brunswick. The first patent was for a 2-piece weight block, which resulted in the first dynamically balanced bowling ball, the forerunner to the kind of ball we throw today. Today, at the age of 84, Carmen Salvino can still be seen in the front row of a lot of PBA telecasts on TV. And you can bet that he'll be out practicing this week to keep his game sharp. Carmen Salvino, a charter member of the PBA, a PBA Hall of Famer, and most certainly a legend of the game. Well, it may not have come down to the last ball in the 10th frame, but it was another interesting match, as Christian was very much in it when the 4-9 popped up in the 7th frame And that 8 count on his first ball proved fatal to his chances to continue on in the match. And Nick just kept piling on strike after strike. So once again, big Logan M leaves Prodigy disappointed. But I have a feeling his day is coming. But for now, Nick is moving on to the final match today, where he'll face our tournament leader, Tristan, and our number 2 qualifier, Jack. This is Jack's first appearance in a stepladder finals on Prodigy. One thing's for sure, we're gonna get a first-time winner today. And interestingly enough, Tristan, the only Brunswick Zone Roswell kid left in the field, he came over this season from AMF Woodstock, and Jack was one of his teammates. So these kids are all well acquainted with one another. Now you will notice something markedly different about Tristan as you watch him bowl today. The last time you saw him on the show, he was coming around the ball with his hand quite a lot. He and his coach have really been working on that, and he's coming up the back of it much more now. And Jack, another two-hander from AMF Woodstock, and as you can see, a very unorthodox style. And we'll take a closer look at it as we go along. But he covers the spare. And Jack, as we mentioned earlier, the only player in the field to bowl both games over 200 in qualifying. Now Nick. Pulled it, but gets the Brooklyn. Sometimes it's not how, it's how many. All right. Jack moves over to the left lane. And that one breaks high, but he gets away with it. And now Tristan leaving the 2, 4, 5, 7. We've seen this one earlier today when Matt left it. We saw what can happen. Oh, I think Nick thought he had thrown that one out the window, but it came back hard. And that's a solid strike right in the pocket. And Tristan takes care of that choppable spare, the 2, 4, 5, 7. Good shot. While we have a minute, here's a reminder that next week will be our last full field event for a couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll get a good turnout on November 11th. Not sure what our format will be. I never know until I see who's bowling. But I expect it'll be somewhat more of a traditional format. Then in 2 weeks, on November 18th, we'll be bowling our annual Thanksgiving Turkey Shootout. This one is open only to the kids who bowl league with us at Brunswick Zone Roswell, as we'll be taking their league scores that morning as the qualifying scores, and then pairing up doubles teams comprised of 1 varsity and 1 junior varsity player in a Scotch doubles format. We'll be using handicap for that one too. And they'll be bowling for Thanksgiving turkeys, real honest-to-goodness frozen butterball turkeys. Here were our finalists from last year as Logan F and Will took home the big birds. Will has aged into the varsity, so that pairing won't be teaming up again this year. But you're liable to meet some of our younger kids that you don't often get to see on Prodigy. The Thanksgiving Turkey Shootout. We'll record it on November 18th. Expect the show to go up on YouTube a few days later, the week of Thanksgiving. And then the weekend of Thanksgiving, we will be off. There won't be an episode of Prodigy recorded that weekend. Our first episode of Prodigy after the Thanksgiving weekend will be December 2nd. Look for it on YouTube a few days after that. And I gotta say that Thanksgiving turkey shootout, one of my favorite days of the year. These kids always have fun, and it's always exciting watching them go at it. Well, that is just as solid a strike as you're ever going to see, and Tristan has obviously figured out the left lane. Oh, and Jack's ball goes through the nose, and he's left himself a wide open split. The 6-7-10. It's makeable, but it's about a 10-to-1 shot for an expert player. He had the right idea. He just had to get that ball a little farther over to the right and just barely graze the 6-pin, slide it over into the 7. Not to be this time, and that's an open frame for Jack. So Nick, 2 strikes so far. And there's a third.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Somewhat unconventional, but watch this. This is going to go through the nose. Something. I think the 6-pin comes back off the wall and takes out the 3. And watch his reaction to this. Yeah, I would hide my face too. Not really. I would take that and smile. Well, it's another one through the nose. Jack struggling a bit to find the line. And look at Tristan just rip the 5 over into the 7. And Jack with a little too much 3-pin. And that's back-to-back opens for the 2-hander. Well, Nick, I hesitate to say he's perfect so far. I don't know that I would call a couple of those strikes perfect, but they are strikes. That one was perfect. So he's got a 4-bagger out of the gate, and look out for Nick. Well, I guess it's better than leaving a split, but Jack goes Brooklyn, leaves the 9-pin. As Tristan comes up light, leaves the bucket. Let's take a closer look at Jack's game. Now, I'm not that well acquainted with Jack. I don't know if he has any physical limitations, but look at his arm. His forearm is not in line with his swing. This is kind of the opposite problem what we saw with Nolan last week. And see his forearm, it's completely off plane for the swing, and he lets the ball go about almost 2 feet up off the floor. He should get a little lower at the foul line with a little more knee bend and try to keep that right arm straighter on plane with the swing. If he can. Like I say, I don't know Jack that well, so there may be some physical limitations that I'm not aware of, but assuming he's capable, that's what I would counsel him to do. All right, Tristan at the tricky spare. Oh, he crossed over and got it. That's not the way we recommend, but it's a spare. Now this is a difficult spare right here. The 3, 6, 9, 10. Got to put the ball between the 3 and the 6 with enough hook on it that the ball can go through and drive out the 9-pin. The 6 will take care of the 10. Oh, just like that. Wow, that's really well done. You know, like we talked about with Nolan last week, his forearm is in the opposite direction of Jack's, but it's not on plane. and you just lose so much leverage. I mean, when you're a two-hander, you should be getting maximum power, but Jack doesn't really get all he could because of that problem with his arm. There's Tristan chopping the 5 off the 9 and leaving a stone 9. Takes care of the 7 without a problem, and now Tristan for the 9 pin. Tristan's still getting his backswing back behind his back a little more than I'd like to see it, but his hand coming through the shot is night and day better than it was when we last saw him on Prodigy. Boy, there is a solid ball by Nick, and this kid is really bowling well. And now we reach that scary moment in the match, the 7th frame sweat. Well, you know what they say, never let them see you sweat. Now's the time to just step up and label the pocket. Low first ball pinfall is out of the match. And if we have 2 tie, then all tie, and they all continue. Well, that's how you do it right there. It may be unconventional, but Jack gets it done when he needs to, right there. Stuff City. And a solid one from Tristan as well. Look at these kids step up under pressure. I love it. That's what this format is all about, to give them a chance to perform under pressure. Now it's all on Nick. He's got to strike to continue. Oh my goodness. As well as he has bowled this match, he was leading. I think it might have been a pretty good bet that he might have been on his way to winning this match, but now he's out. And so it's down to Tristan and Jack, the 2 former teammates over at AMF Woodstock. And Tristan trying to defend the home turf here at Roswell. Jack goes through the nose, leaves the 3-6. We can reset the 3-6 that Nick left. No one's going to be shooting it. Oh, look out. Oh, my goodness. So another open. Well, that issue of having the arm off plane from the swing, if he's physically capable of correcting that, that would help him a lot with his accuracy. It'll also help him with his power as well, but his accuracy suffers with that. And Tristan puts another one right in the pocket. This is the guy that started qualifying today with a 262 out of the gate. He has led all the way. Well, except for that brief period where Nick had the better of him in this championship match, but we know what happened there. Oh, look at this. Oh. Almost a 5-10. Goodness. Let's do a little before and after on Tristan. This is 2 months ago. Watch how he comes around the side of the ball. Almost puts a spinner action on it. And now, after a couple of months working with his coach, much more up the back and a much stronger rolling ball. Jack crosses over in the 9th and gets a much needed strike, although it may be too little too late, as Tristan appears to be about to slam the door on him. Or not. Okay. Well, now let's see. Let's do the math. Jack has a possible 184. Tristan's already sitting at 182 in the ninth, so Jack's chances are slim and none. I'd say he needs 3 strikes in the 10th, and then he'll have to go for Tristan's knees. Well, he got the first part of that done. Got the first strike in the 10th. Now he needs 2 more. And then for Tristan to be abducted by aliens and not show up for the 10th frame. But it's not going to happen. And with that, Tristan has won his first Prodigy Bowlers Tour event. And I know some of you probably wondering, well, where's Charlie? Where's Logan? Where's Brandon? Where are all the other regulars? Well, they are away this weekend at the Georgia Interstate Bowling All-Stars tournament against a couple of other states. I believe it's North Carolina and South Carolina. They're bowling in Myrtle Beach this weekend. And I think we're going to have a report on the outcome here when we're done. Tristan going through the motions of finishing out the 10th frame, but he has this match already in the bank. And I hate to break the news to him, but I forgot and left the coveted trophy pin at home today, so he's not going to get to sign it. At least not today. We'll get him to sign it next week. But we will still talk to him after this match. And you will get to meet this young man. Strike for 202. That's 200. 200 to 173 for Jack and Nick's exit in the 7th frame. We will talk to our winner, Tristan, when we come back. Stay with us.
In the afternoon, when things slow down, when you're wondering what to do, let's go! Go bowling! Nothing brings people together or makes friends so fast as bowling. So call a friend. Bowl Brunswick tomorrow.
Well, there you go. Another week of Prodigy Bowlers Tour in the books. And I thought this was a pretty interesting format. The 3-man matches sure kept the action going non-stop. And the 7th frame wild card introduced a pressure point where the players had to perform. Or as Nick found out in the championship match, all your hard work in building a lead could go right out the window. But in the end, a Roswell kid defended the home turf again. This time it was Tristan, who's new to our league this year, and he stepped up and did the honors. And as much as I want you to meet him, I'm afraid I once again have to apologize for not yet figuring out how to get the autofocus to work on our new camcorder. So just pretend that you're watching this underwater, because it's gonna be blurry. And next week, I promise I'll have it figured out.
Well, well, well. Who is this man in the glasses that our fans have not met before? Tell us about you. How long have you been bowling?
I've been bowling for probably like 5 or 6 years, but I only started competitively about a year ago. So.
Well, apparently you made a little change to your game recently, because first time we saw you on the show, you were coming way around the ball, and now you look like you're coming more up the back of it. So you were working with a coach on that?
Yeah, I'm working with the same person who works with Charlie, so I know I'm in good hands. And we recently just got my band changed, so it's a little bit longer. And I got 3 new balls, including the 2 I used today.
What were you throwing?
Columbia 300 lit and GJ 3 spare.
Well, I forgot and left the coveted trophy pin at home. So we'll have a ceremony and you'll get to sign it next week if I remember to bring it, and I will. But congratulations, this is your first win on Prodigy. Way to go.
Thank you.